Hi, everybody, and welcome. I've got Dr. Linda Wilson with me today. And Linda, hi, Linda, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
Linda is based in Melbourne, and she is a stress management specialist, author, trainer, and presenter. Who also, we're going to be talking to her today about her work with tapping, which is also, you might have heard of EFT, the emotional freedom technique. So tapping is very similar, and it's another tool that we can use in terms of managing stress and anxiety and things that are holding us back, keeping us moving forward, and also for me, really putting the physical body back into balance as well.
Mhm.
So she is a presenter who understands the capacity to use your mind to change your brain also changes your world. Linda supports corporates and individuals to better identify, understand and manage their stress. Linda's work is informed by her degree in traditional Chinese medicine, a graduate diploma in education in health, and 18 years clinical experience in her multi-modality wellness practice in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. Linda's online and in-person programs and workshops incorporate the latest neurological research, tools and techniques to help grow people, to grow business and to create sustainable individual goals for emotional wellness with a focus on personal empowerment. Wow, fantastic.
I know, it's nice to listen to it actually, Kate, because it reminds me, oh yeah, I try very hard to do that for myself and others.
Yeah. Well, I was keen to talk to you, Linda, because the brain and how it works and how we can manage our thoughts and our mind health and brain health is fundamental alongside our gut health. I think that emotional health is so important, and tapping is another tool for us to use to kind of bring us back into the moment and look at things more objectively. Maybe it's best if you can share a little bit of info on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, you mentioned gut health there too, Kate, and I think that is absolutely something we should talk about. The
Yeah.
thing about tapping
Yes.
is that there is no, in Chinese medicine, which is my background, my training, there's no distinction between our mental and emotional health and our physical health. So when you're talking about one, you're also talking about the other. When you are dealing with one, you are also dealing with the other. And so it's only Western medicine that has really split those things apart. And what we're now realizing is that actually we really do need to think about the body as one organism and find techniques that actually enable us to deal with our physical health and our mental and emotional health and our spiritual health to a certain extent, all at the same time. And that is why I'm so incredibly passionate about tapping, because it does use the meridian system from traditional Chinese medicine to deliver the technique that then links the brain and the body back together and creates changes. And one of the reasons that I'm so excited about it is because, particularly in the last 5 years, neuroscience, the study of epigenetics and gene health has progressed phenomenally. We still only know, this much.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that we can now actually show that tapping creates physical change, and you certainly experience emotional shift when you use the tools in your life in, either sporadically or in a really kind of a structured and framed way, which is, the way that I try to teach people to use tapping.
Yeah, fantastic. And I love the holistic approach and effect that it has. So if we talk a little bit about what it is. So,
Sure.
tapping and
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's called tapping just generally. That's how a lot of people have heard of it, but they've also heard of things like EFT, which was one of the first forms of tapping, not the first, but one of the very first forms of tapping, and faster EFT or Utaptics, which is the form of tapping that I use. So tapping is literally what the word says. It is literally tapping, but it's tapping on very specific points on the body. So I mentioned previously we use the meridian system from traditional Chinese medicine. So the points that I use when I'm doing my tapping are here between the eyebrows, the side of the eye, the ball of the cheek, on the collarbone here, just below the two collarbones just below, squeezing the wrist.
Yes.
Those are the places that we focus on. And the reason that we focus on those places are that they are the beginning points or termination points of the meridians as they run through the body. So you're not covering off on everything, but you are covering off on the majority of them.
And sorry to interrupt, Linda. Meridians being energy, the
energy lines. Energy pathways.
Yeah.
And, for a long time, I mean, traditional Chinese medicine is 5,000 years old. But again, because of the sophistication of Western medical technology now, they have actually shown that they exist. So, how they knew they existed 5,000 years ago will probably remain a mystery forever. It's one of those incredible things that human beings have been capable of discovering, I guess. And now we can show that they have actually been found using Western medical technology. So, that's another reason that this is a great time for tapping, because we're really able to show the research now around why it might work and the influence on the brain and the body.
And who can use it, Linda? Who is it relevant for?
Well, that is the great thing that I love about it. Anybody and everybody can use it. From I have worked with mums who have got newborns that are struggling. So we work on mum as almost like a surrogate for the newborn, because when you have your babies, you're very intimately and energetically connected right from day dot, right the way up to, I think my oldest client is probably around 92 years of age, because tapping is all about bringing the physical and emotional bodies back into alignment. So as human beings, we've all got a physical body and we all have emotions that from time to time can kind of take us sideways or into places that we don't want to go. So anyone and everyone. It's especially fantastic for children, and I know you and I have talked about this a little bit, Kate. It's fantastic for children because they don't have years and years of accumulated emotional baggage that they're carrying around. And also kids want to let go of their problems.
So innately they're just in tune with that.
Innately they want to be hassle-free, problem-free, negative emotion-free. And if tapping was in every single school, and I know that there are many practitioners out there who are working really, really hard to have that happen. If tapping was in every school, the incidence of bullying, of kids feeling socially isolated, of kids bringing problems from home into school, of disconnected or distracted learning, of behavioural problems within the classroom. My belief, and I have actually seen this, is that there would be tremendous change for each and every individual in the classroom. And then imagine the teaching experience that we could give our children. And imagine what that would be mean to our teachers as well, to be able to just bring children back into the present with no distractions, and passionately engaged in their learning. I think it would be magnificent.
So, Linda, I would love to know a little bit more about how it works to bring us back into the present moment. And I can imagine that the physical act of tapping the body, does do that. Is there more to it in terms of, because I think, we get carried away with our thoughts, and that's when we create stress, and, it kind of gets into this tumbleweed of emotions and thoughts, panic, stress, worry, whatever it might be. So, how does that actually work?
So tapping, I describe tapping to my clients as it's like a spoke in the wheel. So when we have these thoughts that are just, rambling or won't stop, anxiety, stress, depression, really good examples of when our thoughts seem to be taking us over. So we can feel as though our thoughts or our emotions are in control rather than us. And what tapping does is it works on multiple levels, but the first one is there's a part in our brain called the mid part of our brain, and that is where the stress response really sort of starts to escalate. Right. When we're calm, when we're relaxed, all of our thinking and our focus and our energy, literally our energy in terms of oxygen and blood flow, is heavily weighted towards the front part of our brain, which is where we make all our executive decision-making choices. So, right. We can converse with people better, we're connected with people better, we make better decisions for ourselves, and emotionally we feel quite content. When we hit the stress response, some of those resources, oxygen and blood flow, move into the mid part of our brain.
Is it the amygdala?
That's right. So yes. there's a number of different structures in the mid part of our brain, and I'm talking really just generally, Kate,
yes.
That are involved in our emotional centres, I guess you could call them. Yeah. And that area of the brain starts to get more active. And then what it does is it starts to really look for threat in our environment. And if we're already anxious, if we're already depressed, if we're already having that kind of convoluted or domino type thinking, yes. then the stress response actually escalates because, of course, we're seeing threats out there in our environment. We're feeling that threat within our body. And so we get a hormone production then of the adrenaline and cortisol starts to move through our system in higher levels, and the stress response escalates even further. So what tapping does, the spoke in the wheel, it operates on two levels. The first level is that mid part of our brain really responds to touch. So with the tapping, the act of tapping, we're physically touching our body, and we're doing it in a fairly gentle and methodical way. And of course, our brain loves something that's gentle, and it loves something. It will respond to any kind of a structure that feels familiar or feels like something we can actually control. So we're touching, and we're doing it in a systematic way. Yeah. We're also using language or words, and also a tone of voice. So if you think about that little puppy that's barking in the background,
she needs some tapping.
To calm down a dog or a cat, for example, that is agitated or irritated, we speak to them in a calm voice, and we often pat them and stroke them or touch them, and that calms down that activity or that agitation in a dog and a cat. And sorry to say, folks, we're not that much different.
No. And that's why hugging's so good, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Any kind of physical touch. That's why you can go and get a massage and you feel so fabulous afterwards. Yeah. That's why if you just sit down and have, or just hug a friend for, 10, 15, a minute, however long you want to hug a friend, what it does is that activates the opposite hormones to the adrenaline and cortisol, calms that stress response down, and we move back into that front part of our brain where we feel really connected and in touch with ourselves. So tone of voice is also really important. So when you're tapping with yourself, as much as possible, or certainly when I'm tapping with clients, I move into what I call my trance voice or my hypnosis voice, and that voice is very gentle and quite soft. I'm not too sure how to explain it because I hear it very differently to how other people hear it, of course, but it's basically, again, a message to the brain that you can relax now. Everything's okay. Everything's under control. You're doing really, really well. You can just relax now. It's almost like a little bit of a hypnotic type way that I speak to people. And again, that calms down that mid part of our brain, and we return to the front part of our brain where we just feel as though, actually, I am doing okay. And it can happen within literally the more you tap, the faster this happens, because as with any habit, as with any behavior,
Yeah.
the more we do it, the more we
Yeah.
build up those neurological pathways in our brain that build in familiarity, and they become stronger and stronger and stronger. So the more we tap, the faster the response is.
Yeah.
And there's even a tapping that you can do that is literally just using your imagination. And because the brain doesn't always know what's real and what's not, it will respond to you imagining to tap in the same way that it will respond to you actually physically tapping.
Wow.
So
Interesting. Yeah. And so
that's that's good for when you're around other people, so you don't look like a
yes.
crazy
Oh,
person.
yes. Perfect. So we talked about children earlier, Linda. Perhaps you could share an example with us on how to use
Sure.
tapping.
Yeah. So, so I had this amazing experience in my life, which is one of the most beautiful experiences that I was privileged to have. And that was, I was invited into a primary school to teach every child in that school how to tap. And there were 700 children in that school. And it was like this just dream come true for me. And it was an amazing experience. But I tell you what was even more amazing was that up to 2 years later, because I was still involved with that school because my children went there, kids would come up to me in the car park and say, "Oh, hi, miss. I had a fight with my brother the other day and I remembered that I needed to tap. So I just went into my room and I did some tapping. And you know what? I felt so much better."
Oh, isn't
And
that great, Linda?
to me, it
Wow.
was
So
like
powerful.
it was just the most beautiful thing,
Yeah.
because here is this child who took in some information, experienced it in the classes that we taught, but not only that, has gone off of his own free will and under his own steam, and 2 years later is still using those tools to emotionally care for himself. And I just find that just makes my
Yeah.
everything worthwhile. I just love it.
And you know what I love about that too is that he is learning to take control for his own emotional and physical well-being. It's within him to be able to manage that. I think it's such an important message that we can do this, we can take control over this. And it's hard at times, and I'm sure you've had some extremely difficult cases, I don't know, with sickness or, relationship breakdowns or whatever it might be.
Yes.
But I guess
Life is
tapping has a part to play in that too.
absolutely, because life happens, right? So it just does. And that can include the fantastic things that we have going on in our life, and that can include the really, really hard stuff, from deaths, births, marriages, and everything in between. And I know that your audience is a lot of business owners in your audience, and, we all have those days when something falls through, something goes wrong. We feel like we're paddling like crazy underneath the water and nothing's happening. So tapping can be used for all areas of your life and your experience, because tapping works on you as the individual. So it's not going to change what's happening out there, although that is another whole conversation we could have. It's not necessarily going to change what's happening out there, but it is going to alter our internal environment.
And chemistry.
Exactly.
Yes.
And ultimately, that is the only thing that we have control over. So stuff happens out there.
Yes.
All we can do is to regain or reestablish our own sense of self and our own sense of locus of control. So where is it that, yes, this stuff is happening, but what can I do within me to make sure that I'm adaptable under those circumstances? And the more we practice being able to come back to ourselves and trusting ourselves that we can actually cope, the easier it gets, the faster it gets, and the shorter those experiences that can knock us sideways actually are, because we've had so much practice at shifting through them.
Fantastic.
Being able to do that time and time again is what gives us confidence that we're able to cope.
And Linda, how long does it take? So, for example, if I'm, in the morning and we're running late and their kids have got something on, all of a sudden they haven't done homework or they don't want to go to school or there's tears, and how long does it take to...
Yeah, totally. I have two teenagers. I hear you. The great thing about tapping is that you can do it whilst you're walking around the house with the baby or wrangling the teenager under one arm, doing the breakfast, packing the lunches. If you can spare one hand, or as I said, use your imagination, if you can spare one hand for even as little as 30 seconds, you are going to shift your internal chemistry. And as I said, and I'll keep on saying it, the more you do this, the quicker that shift can actually happen. So, many of my clients are mums. Many of my clients are juggling businesses and work, we've all got, 10 balls up in the air basically.
Yes.
So if you can put in 10 lots of 30 seconds into your day, you will make a massive difference. And the more, of course, if you can do it for longer, that's absolutely brilliant as well.
Yes.
But if you're just trying to get through a situation, then 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, a toilet break, going to the kitchen to make a cup of tea, just excusing yourself to go outside, a little walk around the block. You can apply tapping in any of those situations. I often say to my mums who've got young children, when you're in the shower, on the toilet, sometimes it's the only time that people get the opportunity to have any, space at all.
Exactly.
It does not have to be a lot. It's not an onerous thing by any stretch of the imagination. The other thing is, I say incorporate it into things that you're already doing. So if you're in the car and you've got a automatic car and you're stopping at the lights, spend 30 seconds just doing some tapping. And I'm not sure if we'll have time, Kate, but do you want me to go through the process?
Let's do that. If you wouldn't mind.
Have experience.
That would be great. That'd be awesome, please.
All right, fantastic. So I'll do that in a second, but what I'll do now is I'll ask whoever is listening to think of an experience that they've had that has upset them. And I only want upset that's kind of like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Let's not go for, major drama, because that's unfair to yourself. You don't want to put yourself in that situation with the short period of time we've got. So if you choose something, say 6 out of 10, it could be, you had an argument with a neighbour. It could be the baby didn't sleep last night. It could be someone you wanted to have a joint venture with, it fell through. It could be that person you were expecting to send you a referral just didn't happen.
Yes.
So something that, has gotten you upset, frustrated, angry, sad, anxious, stressed, any of those. Then I want you to just briefly close your eyes, and I'll do this with you. And I just want you to think about that thing as though it's happening right now. And I want you to notice, where is it that you can experience this upset? And so I'm asking, where in your body do you know you're upset? How do you know that you're upset? So it could be a tingling in your hands or shoulders. It could be a pain in your stomach. It could be tightness in your chest or your throat. Just notice, how do you know that this is a problem for you? And you might notice something like there may be a colour associated with this experience that you're having. There may be sounds that you associate with this experience, or there may be a sense of, an actual kinesthetic response. So as I said, a pain or a tickling, something like that. And opening your eyes now, and we're going to tap together. So we're going to start right here between the eyebrows.
Any particular hand?
Any hand and any side of the face as well. So I'm going to tap on one side of the face, but any hand, any face. Any side of the face. So just tapping now between the eyes, and I want you to say after me, I release and let go.
I release and let go.
This feeling.
This feeling.
This upset.
This upset.
Side of the eye now. It's okay to let it go.
It's okay to let it go.
I release and let go.
I release and let go.
All the ways this is stressing me.
All the ways this is stressing me.
Ball of the cheek now. All the ways this is upsetting me.
All the ways this is upsetting me.
All the ways it's impacting me.
All the ways it's impacting me.
And collarbone now, just below the collarbones. I'll just put my camera down so you can see. So it's just here, tapping here, and I use my hand like this, but you can do two hands if you want to.
Okay.
And saying after me, this upset.
This upset.
This feeling.
This feeling.
All the ways it upsets me.
All the ways it upsets me.
I am safe.
I am safe.
And it is safe to let this go.
And it is safe to let this go.
Safe to let it go.
Safe to let it go.
Take a big deep breath. Blow it all away. And say peace.
Peace.
Okay, closing your eyes. And I just want you to think about that same problem. And just notice if there's a shift in the way that it makes you feel now that we've done the tapping. So it may have gone up in intensity, it may have come down in intensity. Either of those things are fantastic because it means you are making a change. So, Kate, if I can just check in with you, did you notice there's a change for you just in that brief?
Yeah, definitely. Lightness. I felt a lightness. Yeah. I felt that because there was a tightness in my chest and, just a lot freer.
Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
So I just want to do one more round just so people can, because I don't want to leave anybody sort of upset. Yeah. So let's just do one more round and we'll finish it off. So saying after me, I release and let go.
I release and let go.
All remaining emotion.
All remaining emotion.
Associated with this problem.
Associated with this problem.
Side of the eye. I'm okay.
I'm okay.
And it's okay to let this go.
And it's okay to let this go.
Ball of the cheek. Safe to let it go.
Safe to let it go.
I'm doing the best that I can do.
I'm doing the best that I can do.
And it's safe to let this go.
And it's safe to let this go.
All this upset.
All this upset.
I choose to let it go.
I choose to let it go.
Safe to let it go.
Safe to let it go.
I release and let it go.
I release and let it go.
Big deep breath. And peace.
Peace.
So for anyone who's still, you're going to be able to rewind and you can go through this as many times as you want to just to, keep lowering that emotion within your system. So that's just a really, really brief example of what we can do in the moment to bring down the level of emotion that we might be struggling with. Often my clients will report just feeling calmer and sort of more grounded in their body. And the reality is that, with the busyness of our lives, most of the time we're living from kind of here up.
Absolutely.
And tapping brings you back into integration with your mind and your body as well.
It's fantastic. I love it. Thanks so much, Linda. And
My
really
pleasure.
loved appreciating and hearing the connection with the brain and how it actually impacts and affects the physical body. Fantastic. So how do people, if they're interested, continue and find out more about tapping or get in contact with you?
Sure. So feel free to just go to my website. There's a lot of information there. There's some free resources there. You'll see a face chart that actually shows you where the tapping points are that I use. And there's some words there that give you an indication of what you need to say for yourself. But just on that, essentially, you can just say, I choose to let this go. I'm safe to let it go. Release and let it go. What you're doing is you're sending an auditory message to your brain. You're giving it an instruction, and you're also giving it a physical message with the tapping. So there's a lot of ways that we're using the brain to change our mind and our brain.
And connecting with the feeling first. Is that
connecting
important?
with the feeling, very important. Although it's not. Sometimes that feeling is just so present we don't have to do anything about connecting with it. right there. But if you are wanting to go back, for example, into your history and deal with some of the things that have happened there, or 2 days ago something happened and you just haven't been able to get it out of your mind, that's a time to take a little bit more time with this and really get connected to that feeling, because the more powerfully we're connected to the feeling, the more information our mind has got to go on when we say, let it go. It's over.
Sure.
Get rid of it. Let it go.
Yeah.
So you can go to my website, www.drlindawilson.com. There is a lot of information out there in Google land as well, or your favourite search engine. So you can just Google tapping. You can Google faster EFT or Eutaptics. EUTAPTICS. That's the mentor who trained me. There is a lot of information out there.
Okay. Yeah, great. Oh, Linda, thanks so much. That's so helpful. And before we go, I just wanted to tell people about your book called Stress. Stress Made Easy, Peeling Women Off the Ceiling.
That's also available on the website if anybody would like it, or Amazon. It's on Amazon as well.
I think it's very appropriate. It's very I had read most of it, and it's a really easy read and very, very practical. So it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you for the feedback, Kate, because it's great to hear that it's working the way that I had hoped it would work. So fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Linda. Thanks for your time and sharing all those great tips. I think the key things to take away is that it is so simple to do. Just maybe try it, for people to try it out. And as you say, maybe the first or second, third time they may not get the feeling, but if they're doing it consistently over a period of time, then they might they'll see the results.
Absolutely.
And that it's just another tool to be adding into our kit for dealing with those emotions and bringing our body back into balance emotionally and physically. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think Kate, just really quickly, I know you're trying to wrap things up. I just want to really draw that line between when we deal with our emotions, how powerfully that impacts on the physical expression of our body, our gut health, our muscle strength and pain, and tapping is very, very powerful when used for physical conditions, because my belief is they're just a manifestation of emotional conditions. So don't think it's just for emotions. You can definitely aim this at physical conditions as well, and it's very powerful.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Linda, because we quite often there is a physical manifestation is from an emotional issue, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And changing you've explained the chemistry, but also the alkalinity within the body. The effect in that, and we know that a lot of disease comes from acidic bodies. So, especially cancer. So, thank you. That's a really great topic, great point. Great.
I'd love to chat with you again, Kate. It's so hard to do this in 20 minutes. So anytime.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up, Linda?
Just that I understand that when people look at this, they probably think, wow, that's just so weird.
Yeah.
But I encourage you to give it a go. It wasn't that long ago, really, that we thought the earth was flat. Yeah. And there are discoveries every day. And as I say, the research is now really backing up that tapping can make a profound difference in your health.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Thanks so much, Linda. I love that.
No worries at all.
Take care.
Bye for now.
See you.